Hello, my name is Cindy Bennett and thank you so much for coming to this video. So today we're going to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and that is math education. So when I was in college, I majored in math education, and through the years I have taught in classrooms, I have homeschooled, I have tutored, I have taught online, and I'm also on the school board at my local public school. And I would like to talk today a little bit about math in America. So, do you have children of your own, or are you a teacher? Let me know in the comments what your connection to education is. All of us in this country should be concerned for the education program. I know in New Hampshire, our property tax is quite high, and 1/3 of the, no, 2/3 of the amount that we pay in taxes goes to the public school. And so we are paying a lot of money in my town. I think it's close to $20,000 per student to send them to the public school. Now, personally, I have sent my kids to either homeschool or Christian school, and that wasn't really by their choice. That was as my choice as a parent. But I have learned quite a few things in my travels with education. And one of the things that we can't deny in this country is that the math skills of our children are really going down. So there is a document that I would like to show you, and that is found under the nation's report card. I'm going to show you this document, and this is called the America's report card, and I just clicked on the math section. You can find other skills in this report as well. This says that the largest score declines in NAEP mathematics at grades 4 and 8 since initial between January and March 2022. The National Assessment Education Progress Mathematics Assessment was administered to representative samples of 4th and 8th grade students in the nation. Results for the nation reflect the performance of students attending public schools, private schools, Bureau of Indian Education schools, and Department of Defense schools. Results are also available for the 50 states, so you can check out how your state is doing, but this is kind of overall. So 4th grade mathematics scores declined across all regions of the country and in 43 states jurisdictions. So you can see the light color, it means it's gone down. The diamond says no significant change. And do you see an increase anywhere? I do not see them. Well, I know that the increase in payment to our taxes is gone up. I know that's a fact. But it looks like it's not really helping our actual results. Now, I know that many of the teachers are diligent, they're trying their best, and a lot of parents are working very hard. I'm not here to criticize any particular group of people, but I would like to look at the facts. The facts are that the math skills are waning in this country. Part of it could be statistics are a little bit different after the pandemic and everything. I teach in school, and I noticed some of those kids in the middle group ages really suffered from being in and out and having all of that trauma around. But I feel like, in my classes, we're kind of getting back on track. Hopefully other teachers are feeling the same way. But in my town, I know that the average proficiency is about 40% for math and reading. And it looks like math is even lower than the reading skills. Now, we could attribute some of that to the ability to use electronics, calculators, phones. We could attribute that to many things. Maybe kids just aren't interested. But I do think that we should take a look at it and try to figure out what's going on. And I think we should kind of like steer the ship so that we would do better in the years to come. And I have a few tips in order to help doing that. First of all, I do believe that there is a variety of curriculum going around. And I know there's the Common Core curriculum, there's, all different sorts of ideas of what people believe is going to be the best way to teach math. And I personally prefer the traditional method. Traditional method would be teach the math facts at a young age, not just teaching how to add, but also teaching the math, what we call families, like 3 plus 1 is 4, 4 plus 1 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. Of course, those are easy, but teaching the kids in first and second grade to be able to do these combinations quickly. Now, I use a program, it's called the Abeka curriculum, which is out of Pensacola, Florida. And that is a curriculum that you can buy, and I really like how they structure the traditional math book. It's really great. And if you start that out in first grade, they do teach the teacher, whether it's the parent or the teacher at the school, that you need to review those math facts every day so that the kids have them by rote memory. Now, rote memory is kind of frowned upon these days, but I remind you, the statistics are down. Kids are not doing as well in math, and there's a reason for that. So we can't look around and assume that we're doing things better now. We need to look back and say, what did we do in the past that was working? And rote memory is actually very good for young children. It helps their brain cells grow. And it also helps them to have confidence in math skills. It only comes through rote memory to be able to do those math families quickly. So when I taught math, I taught grades 1 through 8, all of the math grades. And I could tell that when the kids had a really good foundation in first, second, third grade of their math facts, and they knew them by rote memory, by the time they got to fourth and fifth grade, they weren't counting on their fingers, and they were able to do their pages, more difficult problems, quicker. So that is a really important thing, to have a really good foundation from the very start. Now, if you have a fifth grader and your fifth grader doesn't know those math facts quickly, I'm talking about addition math families, subtraction, as well as multiplication and division by the time they get to third and fourth grade. If your students don't know them and they're in the upper grades, then they should take some time and review those and make sure they know them well. And that will make a big difference as they go along in their future grades. And now in the traditional method, by the time the students are done with 8th grade, they should have good mastery of the basic fundamentals of math skills, which I will put out another video highlighting those traditional math skills that I believe are very important for the foundations. Also, I would like to say that as a parent, I would encourage any parent, if you have a child that is in math class, take some time every day to review what they did in math class that day. Now, I as a math teacher, I will give the students a page to do and some extra problems. Sometimes during the day in their school, they could finish those during study hall or, some other time during the day, or they might want to take it home and do it for homework. But if they are doing homework, it really helps if the parent will say, hey, what are you doing for math today? And kind of look at their paper and ask them some questions about what they're doing. See if they know what they're doing. I know in my classes, I learn a small little baby step every day. But if you don't keep up with those steps every day, by the end of the week, it could be a big step that they're missing. Or at the end of 2 weeks when we have a test, if they haven't been keeping up with their math papers all week, it could be a problem at the end of 2 weeks. I don't usually go back and reteach everything. We do a review page. So making sure you know what your students are doing, have them speak the words. In math class, we use a lot of terminology that students might never say outside of class, like ratio or square root, radical. Just trying to think of a few things. X squared, x cubed, or 2 cubed, 3 cubed. A few weeks ago, we did factorial. That's not a word that we hear very often. So if the students are only saying the words once during class or twice during class, possibly for homework, that might be 3 times. But if you as a parent are asking them questions, that will help them to remember what they did in their math classes. So the point of doing the math is not just, do you know how to do this, but retaining those thoughts and concepts into the next day, the next week for the test, and hopefully into the next year, because every year in math should be a growth year. We do a lot of review, but it's nice if they remember something from the year before, as you can imagine. So those are some of my tips. Is number one, just keep in mind that the math skills in our country are poor. We are not teaching the math skills for retention. Okay, we're doing a lot of work, but the whole point is that the students will be able to retain these concepts. And as parents, please take some time with your students. And even if they say they're done with their homework, ask them some questions about what they learned today. I do teach in a private Christian school, and one of my favorite curriculums is the Abeka program. But there are also other programs that are similar. I know a lot of people like Saxon Math. That is a workbook page where you kind of do a new concept and then you review the old concepts, and you kind of do that every single day. There are lots of free curriculums online. But what I would suggest for you is to get a list of core concepts and make sure that your students are learning those. And then make sure you check off on that list to make sure that your student is getting a handle on all of those things. And don't be afraid of rote memory. Rote memory is your friend in math. And if the students have good retention when they're first, second, and third grade, by the time they get to the upper grades, they are going to have confidence in their math skills. So my concern is for, the kids in my family, the kids in my town, the kids in my state, but the kids all across America, that we need to do better for them. And we need to try to inspire them whichever way we can in order to be successful in their math classes. I really do believe that a lot of that inspiration starts when they're young, because if they are happy when they're young, usually first, second, third graders are just, ready to learn and they're excited to learn. So if they're taught those good skills when they're young, by the time they're older, they will have a good foundation for the future. But if they're lacking those skills, they will always suffer in the future. One more thing. If you are a teacher or a parent and you're not good at math, don't tell your students. Don't tell your children. Don't say, I'm not good at math, because, you're going to give them the thought that maybe they're not good in math. My mother, honestly, she wasn't really that great in math skills, in a textbook. But she was great at math in the sense of, bookkeeping and doing shopping on a budget, keeping a budget, those kind of things. And when I came home and I had a math paper that she didn't understand, she would say, just talk it out, Cindy. Just talk it out. And I would explain it to her. And even if she didn't understand what I was doing, this was usually when I was in algebra class, then she would just encourage me. And she would ask me questions. and that would help me to understand, and then I would recall things I did in class, and then eventually things would click for me. So if you think that you're an adult and you're not that great in math skills, you can still inspire your children or your students to have a love for math. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I look forward to more videos like this, and I hope to see you again on my channel talking about what we can do to help to improve the math skills for the students that are coming up right now in our world. Thank you for watching.